Welcome to our 2020 Reconciliation Week video. I'm Casey Gardner and this is Rikisha Finiessa, and we are the Senior Indigenous Captains at Kirwan High School. Before we start, I would like to start by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today, the Walgarukaba people, and pay respects to the elders past, present and future, for it is they who hold with them the traditions, memories and hopes for this land. What is Reconciliation Week? Reconciliation Week is focusing on building positive relationships between Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples and other Australians, so that we can ensure that we have a strong and successful nation. This week is chosen each year as two really important events in our history which occurred during this time. The first one is the anniversary of the 1967 referendum. Before 1967, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples were not recognised as humans, more like flora and fauna, plants and animals, and did not have the same rights as other Australians. In 1967, the government held a referendum that changed Australia's history. The outcome: over 90% of Australians said yes to giving the power to the government to make laws for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples according to the Constitution. This meant that specific laws could be made to address the inequalities.
28 years ago, Eddie Koiki Mabo took his case to the High Court, and the decision of the Mabo case was that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples had a right to their land, and that this right existed before British people ever arrived in Australia. It was very important because it formally acknowledged the right and connection that Indigenous people have to Australian soil. So Reconciliation Week is about acknowledging these two very significant events in Australia's history, but also to consider what is happening in the future and how we can move forward. There's a theme for each year, and the theme for 2020 is In This Together. It inspires us all to contribute to reconciliation and acknowledges that we all have a very important part to play in this. By each of us playing our roles, we can collectively build relationships and communities that value Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, cultures and histories. At this time in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, this theme's importance is even more obvious for us all. We know that at Kirwan High, reconciliation is a real and authentic part of our identity as a school. The Charter for Reconciliation says that at Kirwan High we define reconciliation as the building of better relationships, unity and respect between the wider Australian community and Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders for the benefit of all Australians. The 2019 treaty outlined our school's commitment to moving forward in the spirit of reconciliation, building better and stronger relationships between the Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples of our school. The 2020 Imagination Declaration, signed by Casey and myself and the principal, outlined how the students were going to move forward in their aspirations, dreams and hopes for Australia and for our school. And we gave this message to the staff and teachers of Kirwan High. These artifacts of our school reflect what reconciliation means to us, the Kirwan High community, and we should all be very proud of what we've done.
This week at school, you will all participate in a HGR lesson that focuses on Reconciliation Week and allows you to consider what role you will play to continue to move reconciliation forward in our community. As well as that, there will be an information booth in the quad every day where you can find information about reconciliation and key events in our past. Thank you everybody, and remember, we are in this together.